All right, we are now recording. What's up, everybody? This is the Misguided Podcast. We intend to guide you to a better future. My name is Juwan Rohan, and I'm sitting here with Dan Wynn from Military Cash Flow. What's up, man?
What's going on? What's going on, Juwan? I appreciate the invite. I love everything you guys are doing.
Hey, appreciate it, man. Just trying to educate out here, trying to guide. How's everything, man? How's your Sunday? It's Valentine's Day. We're recording on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, we are recording on Valentine's Day. I got my wife. She knows everything, so I told her I'm hopping on a podcast real quick. Gonna do some dope stuff with the Misguided Podcast. So she's like, yeah, she's all about it. But the kids are sitting on the couch just waiting for me to get finished, and then we're gonna go on a scooter ride. So that's
nice.
Pretty much what we're doing today. But yeah, man, everything's lovely, man. I don't have too many complaints. Working on a few things, and just living life.
There you go, man. It's important to hang out with the kids too, especially on Valentine's Day. I got a 1.5-year-old, and he usually sits outside the door while I do my podcast, just drinking his bottle, just waiting until I open that door, and it's the cutest thing ever. But yeah, man. Super cool. So let's go ahead and dive right into it. Who are you? What do you do? Let the audience know.
All right, my name is Dan Wynn. I am an Army officer. I am a finance officer. So I used to do some really, really cool stuff. I joined the Army back in 2012. And then I joined as an infantry officer, which, do that frontline stuff. Got to do some real cool stuff, go to Ranger school, go jump out of airplanes, go rappel from helicopters and stuff like that. It was really awesome. And then a couple of years later, I transitioned into the finance field, and that's what I do now. And I control a multi-million-dollar budget for a brigade. So that's my W-2 income. And I got a wife. She's also active duty military. And then I got 2 kids. And we're just living life, man. We're down here in Savannah, Georgia.
How does that happen? So you're jumping out of helicopters, doing crazy shit, and all of a sudden you decided to like take hold of people's finances? Like how was that transition for you? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so there's a couple different career paths you can take, right? So the way that I joined the Army, I know a lot of people don't know as far as military. There's two different sides to the military, right? There's the officer side and the enlisted side. Mm-hmm. And the officer side, you go through different programs, different commissioning sources. One is ROTC, one is West Point, and you got some direct commissions and some other things. But I went the ROTC route. So basically, I went to college. I got my college paid for, and while I was there, you get to basically choose your branch, right? You get to choose what you want to do. So initially, me being 24 years old, I'm like, hey, I want to do some really cool stuff. It's just me and my wife right now, or me and my serious girlfriend at that time, who I knew I was going to marry. Mm-hmm. So I want to do some really cool stuff, gain some unique experiences, some leadership skills, right? And then after that, I want to kind of die down. I want to start a family. I want to kind of, relax a little bit. So when you're doing combat arms like infantry or field artillery or like tank stuff or armor, you're typically in the field a lot. You're typically training a lot in the field. So you're away from family. You're going on different rotations and things. But once you switch to a more, I guess, a softer side, it's less of that. So it's more about the technical skills. So that was my thought process, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. So it's better for my family, I think.
Yeah, definitely. My godmom actually did a very, very similar route. Did the college thing, and I can't remember what she did. I don't know. I feel like it was finance, but I can't remember what she did after that. But very similar. So that's super cool, man. Honestly, I don't think a lot of people know that there's 2 different routes. I think they think military and they're like, okay, I'm holding a gun and I'm in like Afghan or something. You know what I mean? Like they don't know the different routes you can take. And I think that's important. So, all right, you're working on finance. So how did this military cash flow come about?
Yeah, so this is something as far as military cash flow itself, that was something I came up with way later down the road to share my experiences as an investor, right? So as far as investing was concerned, and that happened way back in college. I got introduced to a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, while I was working pretty much a dead end job, a job that ended up laying everybody off, and So when I was in college, it was around it was around '09 timeframe. So
Okay.
'08 and
Ooh,
'09
right
timeframe was a
after.
recession. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got laid off from work. But prior to that, one of my coworkers introduced me to a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, and then also another book called Automatic Millionaire by David Bach, and both of which I have back up there on my shelf. But those books kind of introduced me to a little bit of financial literacy. And man, when I read those books, I was super upset. I was like, why is this stuff not talked about? Like how
Yeah.
I'm a 21-year-old man, dude, and or however old I was at that time. I was like, I've never heard this stuff before. Like, why is this stuff not taught?
Yeah.
So I was a little upset, but I knew that, hey, this is something that I wanted to do. This is build wealth, build legacy wealth, and then also at the same time, whatever I build, help other people out in at the same time, right? So that's kind of where it eventually led to me investing in real estate, and then also me myself and my partner starting Military Cash Flow. So
Nice, man. Got to give credit where it's due, but Robert Kiyosaki, that guy has changed so many people's lives. It's ridiculous. We cannot go an episode without him being mentioned. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, man. That's a great story. I mean, that's pretty much how everyone gets started. They're introduced to something that like it just clicks for them, and it was that book for you, and it's been that book for a lot of people. I mean, that's kind of what happened with me. And then you kind of have like this urge to, well, I want to do this, but like I also want to help people. You know what I mean? And that's why we started the podcast, and that's why you started Military Cash Flow. So props to you, man. Big ups. Yeah.
that's a big thing, man. It's just a lack of exposure, dude. Like, I mean, imagine what we'd be like if we got introduced to that while we were growing up, right? Like consistently while we were growing up. It's
Yeah.
crazy, right? So
I always tell myself I would have been a millionaire already if I was introduced to this stuff way earlier, if not
yeah.
a billionaire. But
Yeah. Yeah,
I always keep that in my head just so I know, like, because now that I have a son, it's like, okay, he's gonna learn this shit as soon as he talks. You know what I mean? Like as soon as he talks, I want his first word to be money. You know, but so that's kind of always like in the back of my head. But yeah, I want to go ahead and dive into your very first deal, if you remember, because that's super important. Walk me through it. How'd you acquire it? How'd that look for you?
So my very first deal was a personal residence, right? So I graduated in 2012, and then about 4 or 5 months later, well, I graduated, got married, and then about 4 or 5 months later, we got our first home. But we didn't get our first home in the sense that a lot of people do. Most people, when they start making money and they get their first home, it's kind of lockstep, that technique. Hey, I need to buy this nice house to take my Facebook pictures, my IG pictures. Well, I didn't really do that. Understanding that information from Rich Dad Poor Dad, and I started listening to other podcasts and listening to other things and reading other books, right? Understanding that information, I knew that I didn't want to buy the nicest house, right? I was buying something to live in personally, but at the same time, I wanted it to be an investment once I move away, because in the military we move every 3 to 4 years, right? So we're consistently moving. So we looked at a few places, and we did our due diligence on the front end to make sure that whatever we buy, if we leave, we can cash flow from it, right? It actually makes for a good rental. Um, like I said, there are a lot of people, especially in the military, that buy a house. Let's say it's $200,000. Their mortgage is $1,500, but it can only rent for $1,600, right? So they're thinking, hey, I have an asset. Hey, I'm making money. When in reality, they got to hire a property manager. Well, they're going to take 10%. That's $150, right? So,
Yeah.
I just looked at it as an investment. So I buy this. We buy this this 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. And we did the live in flip strategy. So we financed it with a VA loan. And if you're not familiar with a VA loan, it's like an FHA loan on crack. Instead of putting 3.5% down, you put 0% down, and you don't have any PMI. So there's no mortgage insurance that you have to pay with it. So you got this very, very great loan product, and buy that first home. We already know that it can use some renovations. You can use some upgrades, right? So throughout the process of us living in it for 3 years or 3.5 years or so, we made upgrades to it. And then And then we had the opportunity to either rent it or sell it, and we just chose to sell it. So we sold it, we made a profit on that. And that was my very, very, very first deal. Now, my first true investment, as far as like one that I didn't live in, was in Jacksonville, Florida. And we can talk about that as well. So
Cool. A couple questions. How'd you save up money to kind of to rehab it up while you were living there? Were you just saving every day on a budget? Did you have the money from elsewhere?
So the cool thing about the live and flip strategy is that you don't have to have a lump sum of money. You can make small renovations over time, right? So you can save up $2,000 and then do the work yourself. So, and that's what we did. We put sweat equity into the home,
Cool.
and we did the renovations ourselves. So we changed the floors. We changed, we took out the carpet, put hardwood floors down, obviously painted, changed the kitchen, put a backsplash up in the kitchen, changed the countertops. It wasn't very, very hard stuff to do. It's stuff that you can kind of figure out how to do on YouTube, right? But I had a kind of a background from doing some renovations, from some experience that I got while I was in college.
Nice.
But did that. I mean, and we just did that over time. So it wasn't like, hey, save $20,000. It was like, hey, we're going to do this. And then, a couple months later, we're going to do this, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do this. So that's kind of how it worked for us. So.
Good. No, that's a great strategy. A lot of people think you need the money up front, and they really stress out, or they'll go throw it on a credit card. Don't do that. No. But yeah, very important. Let's talk about your profits from selling that house. So there was a big factor, I'm assuming, in whether you should sell it or rent it out. I mean, your first goal was to rent it out, right? But things changed. You saw a better opportunity, and a lot of people need to know that there could be multiple exit strategies. You don't need to be prideful and stick to your first one, and go through with that. Well, I said I was going to rent it out, so that's what I'm going to do. If the numbers don't work, the numbers don't work. So let's talk about your profits and why you chose to go that route.
Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head. Things change, and you should have multiple exit strategies. So the reason why we chose to sell versus rent is because the experience that I had with my very first true rental property, right? So while we're doing that live and flip, we were living in it for 3 years. We bought a single family in Jacksonville, Florida, and we rented. We did the burst strategy. We bought it, renovated it, refinanced it, rented it out. Repeat. Did that process, and then while we had the tenant, I saw the amount of cash flow that we were making, and it wasn't really doing too much for us. So I decided to sell that property. We didn't make that much on it. I'd say we made like 10,000, maybe 15,000 or something like that.
Okay.
But it wasn't, we didn't have to really deal with it anymore. We wanted to free up our VA loan to buy something else in the future. And then to buy something a little bit more cash flow positive in the future, and then continue buying more multifamily. So we kind of went that route, but.
Cool. Well, go ahead and walk me through that. So you sold it, you got this 10 or 15,000. What'd you do with that 10 or 15? Did you invest it? Did you go spend it on a wedding? What'd you do?
I really don't remember what I did with that. We're doing a few things at a time. I mean, I know it probably went towards the other, another, I really don't remember what I did with it. Maybe it went towards a renovation, or I might've just went in savings. I don't remember what I did with that, to be honest. It wasn't anything like, hey, we're taking this money and doing this specific thing with that. Honestly, I don't remember. So
hey, I love honesty. That's what we're here about, man. And plus that was a while ago. So okay, cool. So you have this house in Tennessee, or Jacksonville. I don't know where I got Tennessee from. Jacksonville. And you said that you were getting this monthly income from it, but it was nothing, right? So that's the point of you selling the other house. So how long did you keep that rental? And then when you invested into the next property, what'd that look like for you?
So it went, we bought our very first home, the one that we lived in. A couple of years later in 2016, we bought a single family in Jacksonville. And that money, the way we financed that, we saved that entire time, right? We're saving a lot of money.
Yep.
And then saving money. And then also we did a bit of credit cards, use a little bit of credit cards for some renovation. So we bought this home in Jacksonville for $25,000. 25.5 was a 1,300 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home. It'd been on the market for a long time, and just got lucky, I think, and went and bought that. We put about 25-30 into that home, and then the home right across the street sold for about 110,000. So so the home that I put like $55,000 into ended up appraising for like 102 or 100, somewhere like a low hundreds.
Good
So
job.
and that was huge, and that was unexpected because I doing the burst strategy, when I did my numbers before that home had sold, I was thinking it was going to reappraise at like 75, 80, but then I'd say I got lucky, but it was a lot of work and a lot of time that went into it. But either way, bought that home for 25, put about 25 into it. It appraised for 101 or 102. Did a 65% loan to value refinance, cash out refi, right? The burst strategies that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Did a refi, got 65 G's back. So I made about 15,000 on the refi. And then I had a tenant in place paying $950, somewhere around there. And, I was cash flowing maybe like after, so the mortgage was about $600, or it wasn't even $600. It was like 500 and some change. But I always take 10% there was 10% for property manager. I also take 10% for any incidentals, and then also take a little bit of money for CapEx. So there's percentages that I put aside. So all in all, after all my expenses, I was cash flowing like right at $100, maybe a little over $100, and it just wasn't.
That's
It
not a
just
lot.
wasn't very.
Yeah.
It just wasn't very appealing to me. Right? Um, so yeah, that's pretty much what we did. And after we did that refinance, got all that money back, all the capital we put into it, plus another 15,000. I took that 65 and then ended up buying a 4-unit. And that was my first experience with multifamily. And then once I started seeing the cash flow from that multifamily, I sold off all single families. So that's kind of what happened there.
Dang, so you're living the multifamily life now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what a lot of people start with, single family, and then realize that the multifamily has much better ROI. But that's super cool, man. That's a great story. I love that, man. Let's talk about the VA loans. Have you used the VA loan for each of your properties or no?
I've used different sources of financing, but yes, I did use the VA loan for another 4-unit,
Okay.
a 4-unit that I bought in Columbus, Georgia. So I have a 4-unit in Columbus, Georgia. We lived in it. Well, we meant to live in it. We were intended to live in it. We had orders. We knew we were going to Columbus, so we bought kind of prematurely. We ended up going there. I think really I stayed there for, I don't know, not even a month really. And then got my orders changed, and my order, I went up and lived in Fort Drum, New York. So it was completely not what I was expecting. And but anyways,
Hey, you got a property.
Exactly. We got a property. We did our due diligence. We made sure that it cash flowed, so it didn't really hurt us. We planned to live in the unit, right, and then rent the other ones out. And based off of our numbers, we would have made money off of it, right?
Yeah.
And it just didn't really work out that way. We ended up getting PCS or getting moved somewhere else. So that was kind of unexpected, but
cool. Is your wife active duty right now as well?
Yep, she's active duty. She while we were in that first home back 2014, 2015, she went to law school, and now she's a lawyer, but for the military. She's a JAG attorney.
That's crazy. Congrats. Yeah. That's dope. Cool. So to you, what's the number one place to invest? What's your favorite place to invest?
I mean, real estate, obviously. I mean, it doesn't matter what type of real estate, right? So, I mean, me personally, it all needs to be dependent on you and your individual strategy, right? So what may work for me may not work for you because you have a different situation, right? So you have to, I mean, we listen to all these podcasts, we read all these books about saying, hey, this is the one way to do it. This is the one way to do it. But that's it, you got to take that with a grain of salt and do what's best for you, right? So for me, I like multifamily. Multifamily is the way that I choose to go. I like small residential multifamily right now. Eventually, I'll move up to larger apartments, but the residential multifamily is doing me well right now, and that's kind of where most of our money is placed.
Nice. What about states? What's your favorite state to invest in?
I mean, so right now all my stuff is in Georgia and Alabama.
Okay.
I choose that because it's just proximity, right? Like, so I would rather all of my assets be in one location, and you can take advantage of economies of scale that way. So property management, for example, I get a reduced rate. I'm not paying 10%, I'm paying 6%, like just because I have more units in one place, and
Yeah,
those managers can go to one place, and I only have to manage one manager versus managing a billion different property managers. But
very true.
again, it's all every person is different. So you need to kind of figure out what's best for you in your situation.
Very true. Very true. Cool. Um, let's go ahead and dive into military cash flow and kind of. I mean, you got 4,000 subscribers on YouTube. Congrats on that, man. It's
Oh, we
super
hit the
hot.
4K mark, huh?
You hit the
Okay.
4K. You're 4.01, man.
Oh, snap. All
Let's
right.
let's go ahead and talk about this. I'm looking at your YouTube, and it's you're it's done very well. You have the same color scheme. Your thumbnails are great, and you got some great guests on here. Let's talk about this, man. How was this journey? Let's go back to your first
Yeah.
video.
Yeah. So the military cash flow started off, it used to be Financial Freedom Journal. So this happened while I was in a school. I was training it's called Captain's Career Course. And I was in Fort Jackson, South Carolina. And the first assignment of this school, right, was to basically give a speech about something that that you find interesting. It was one of those break the ice type things. And you've probably seen that before, right? So
Mhm.
it was one of those break the ice moments, and I decided to get up and talk about real estate, right? Because at that time I had done a few single family homes, and then I had also done that. Well, I was on my second 4 unit at that time. Um, so I got up and I started talking about real estate. After the class, like a lot of people started coming up and asking me, hey, show me this thing. A lot of people don't know about the different things you can do with your VA loan. Like, you can buy a 4 unit, you can, live in one and make money and keep all your basic allowance for housing, which is something the military gives you. They give you money to live, basically, to find
It's
a
like a
place to live,
stipend, right?
essentially, kind of.
Okay.
But I mean, they're pretty good stipend. So I mean, it depends on where you live at. I mean, it can be anywhere from $2,500. Like if you're in DC, $2,500, $3,500, depending on your rank and things
Damn.
like that. But still, it's a lot of money. And if you buy a home, they're assuming that you're going to take that money and put it into wherever you're living at. But you can buy a 4 unit, live in one, don't pay any mortgage, right? Or get paid while you're living there. And then on top of that, you
You
get
got you.
your
Ooh.
exactly that PH. So it's like a triple win, man. Like,
I'm
but
about to
anyways,
join the military just for that. I thought about that like earlier last year in 2020. I was like, should I just join the military?
yeah, man,
But
there's definitely a lot of pros to it. If that's something you do, again, it's based off your situation. So as long as you go in with a plan, then there's not really any losing, man. Like if you go in a plan, it's just so much out there. It's ridiculous. So many advantages to join the military. But again, it's all up to you and your lifestyle and what you choose to do. But you got to go in there with a plan. But anyways, back to how I got into it. I was given this class. A lot of people came up. They asked me questions. And they said, "Hey, you should do this again or something." So I was like, "Well, I'm just going to record it one time, put it on YouTube, and then I can pass this out to different people instead of having to
right.
explain it over and over and over again."
Yep.
And then that's pretty much what happened. That was the start. And then fast forward to now, brought on my partner Mike Glaspie, he's just a monster entrepreneur, real estate entrepreneur. He's like buying hotels and like
Oh
he's
shit.
got two real estate teams in Charlotte and Fayetteville. He's just a monster, great guy. Author of that book back there, The Elite Investor, and brought him on as a co-host. And we got together and created Military Cash Flow. And now we help other service members build wealth and create cash flow through real estate. And we also talk other side hustles as well. So we have the podcast, we have obviously the YouTube channel. And we're just like you guys, the Misguided Podcast, man. We're out there just trying to give out as much valuable information as possible to help other people. We have the abundance mindset, right? So
Yeah.
we're just trying to put this information out to other people, and that's kind of where we're at right now. We just got a bunch of things going on with it. It's just been a great time getting to talk to other service members, hear other service member stories, how we're able to help them. We just had somebody on that we helped them. Well, they watched our stuff and then they went and actually took action on it and bought
Yeah.
their first duplex. I've helped other soldiers buy multifamily homes when analyze deals and things. And now I got a message from one of my soldiers that I helped, and now she has 2 duplexes, and it's just some really fulfilling stuff, man. It's really, really fulfilling. You're literally changing lives, dude. So
literally,
it's good stuff.
And all you're doing is just educating. You're just a teacher online. It's like, isn't that crazy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, man, cool. Your co-host Michael. I'm looking at his book right now. Was he military? Is he active?
Yeah, so he just got out of the military about a year and some change ago. He was an SF operator, so he's been special forces most of his career. He got out, and then he just started crushing the real estate game. So he was in for a long time as a weapons sergeant. I think he spent like maybe 12 years or so in,
Oh shit!
And then just got
That's
out
great.
last year. So
Crazy. Cool. Well, everyone listening, the book is called The Elite Investor, a Military Approach to Real Estate Problem Solving, and it's rated 5 stars. Congrats, Michael. Super cool. I might check that out. It's only $7.99 on Kindle. So you guys could do that. Cool. Military cash flow, man. I love to hear it. This is amazing, man. For real. I love the brand. I love everything about it. For you, what would you say has been the most struggle for the military cash flow?
For military cash flow itself, there's not been too much of a struggle because all it is just sharing the information that we know, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, really easy. Now there is a time, just like I mean, making these podcasts, editing the podcast, editing the video, and doing all these things, that takes time, right? So
Yep.
I just listened to one of your podcasts. I think you put it out yesterday, and you guys were touching specifically on that kind of that time management and how you're resourcing your stuff out. I think you talked about you're getting your website built, I believe.
Yep.
So that was a factor. Myself and Mike are both really busy. I have a family. My wife and I are both active duty. We still work 40 plus hours a week, so doing the real estate, and then on top of that, adding military cash flow. On top of that, we're getting our real estate license. So it can be very very hard to manage everything. So what we've done is we started resourcing some of that stuff out. We have another partner, Wazim. If you guys like all the thumbnails and you like all the stuff that you're seeing on the videos and podcasts and stuff like that, Wazim is our guy. He's the one that makes those dope ass thumbnails and all that other stuff. So and then we have a few other people doing other things, and it just kind of helps out a lot. And we got people managing our Facebook group that help manage our Facebook group. So yeah,
Super cool.
stuff.
No, that's great. I love to hear that. Yeah. So I know how hard it can be. Like sometimes I like, you want to do everything yourself, right? You want to build from the ground up and say, I built that from nothing, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes there comes a point where it's hard. Like you said, you got a family, you're a family man, your kids are young, right? 4.5, 5 years old. You have a wife, you guys work 40 plus hours a week. Sometimes you just have to soak up that pride and outsource. And I think a lot of people just don't do that because they're like, nah, I could do everything. I got it. Or like, I don't want to spend this money, but yet you're spending money on some, $14.99 Netflix a month, HBO Max, etc. You know what I mean? So like, I think it all goes back to what you said in the beginning. If it is for you, then it's for you. Each person is different. So you have to find out what you're comfortable with. And for me, I'm comfortable in putting something together and then bringing a team to help me build that. You know what I mean? Like I'm comfortable. Yeah, I'm comfortable in being the top decision maker and putting all the pieces together so that everyone else could build the pieces. You know what I mean? So
yeah, 100%. Yeah, everybody's not going to be able to do, like, for those out there that might have a podcast right now, or might have anything in general that needs a system and a process. Everything needs a system and a process to function right. Now, once you make that system and process, you've got to figure out a way to pass that on to someone else to manage that system and process for you. And it takes up so much. It gives you back so much time, right? Even if it costs you a little bit of money, it's going to free up time. Time is our most valuable asset, right? And not money. Time is our most valuable asset, right?
Yep.
So if you can figure out how to do that, then I mean that's the best. And I think you hit the nail on the head, man. Like you just gotta be comfortable, get to a place where you're comfortable enough letting someone else do it. I know it's your baby, I know it's like your thing, but and they might not be able to do it 100% as well as you can. Maybe they do it at an 80% level, but guess what? With coaching and through time, they can get to maybe 95% because they're
I was just about to say coaching, and then you said it. Yes, you hit it right on the nail, man. Great, great. So cool. I'm looking at your Facebook right now. 2.1 members, man. Congrats. That's a lot.
Thanks. Yeah.
2,000. How do you go about promoting yourself, and how do you go about? Do you do like Facebook advertising and stuff, or what works for you?
Oh man, it's all been, for the most part, it's all been grassroots. We have not paid for any, if you look at our Instagram followership, I think we have like 1,000 people or something like that. And we're thankful for every single person that follows. We try our best to just give out value, man. Like people hit us up and we'll answer questions. We'll answer questions. People ask us questions. We'll answer questions. We'll connect other people to other people. For people that are moving, that are looking for a realtor, like they're looking for a realtor that understands investing, that's trying to a realtor that can help them get into their first multifamily home. We literally help and vet realtors for people, so there's a lot of things that we do just out of, not really thinking about the money, more thinking about just, that value add aspect. And that kind of helps grow, that helps just grow by itself. It just kind of grows organically. And that's kind of what we want anyways. We're not really trying to put out a bunch of ads for rando people to come and add. It's just not really for us. So we'd rather have like the genuine people. So the people that are in our Facebook group, they're asking questions. They're all service members. They're all learning how to build wealth. We got past guests that we've had on podcasts that are in that group answering questions and things like that. So it's just a community, man. It's just grassroots community, I guess. Organic.
I love it, man. I love it. I'm just happy to see that it's doing well. I'm happy to see you educating. Another brother educating is super important, and I think you deserve a round of applause, man, for real. So thank you for joining today and kind of going over everything and helping my audience. And hopefully they become your audience. Maybe we got some military listeners, So cool. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. The way we like to wrap up is we have a segment called Guided Conclusions. It's where I ask you a question that we didn't talk about beforehand. It could be funny, serious, whatever. Today's question is going to be funny. My question for you is, would you rather live on a sailboat for the rest of your life or in an RV, and why?
RV easily. So my dad was in the Navy, right? And I went on this thing. It was called a Tiger Cruise, and we were out to sea. Like they got to bring the families, and we got to go out to sea for like, I don't know, it was like 3 nights or something. And man, I got seasick like crazy. I was throwing up, and
shit.
I'm not about that life, man. In one night it was like storming, so the boat's like, not about that life. So I'd rather stay on the ground, hence that's why I chose the Army, so stay on the ground. I live in an RV. It's a pretty it's low upkeep versus a boat. There's a lot of money that goes into maintaining a boat, docking fees, all these other things. So RV life, I get to tour the country, tour anything that's connected. So I'd easily.
Where would you take that RV? Where would you live?
I'm not really sure. I think we'd just be touring the country, me and the family, kind of going to see nice things, go out in the woods and just kind of hanging out in the woods for a few days, and doing things like that. So nothing specific, just living life, I guess, so.
Yeah. Nah, I feel it. That's a good answer. I'll definitely pick RV. Definitely. But I like to ask these questions so that the audience can get to know you personally, and you kind of guide them to your heart and not just, financial education. So that's why we have these questions. And I appreciate it, man. Go ahead and drop all your social media. Where can everyone find you? How can they reach out? Do you have an email, etc.?
Yeah, if you need to reach out to us, if you're in the military, or more importantly, if you know anyone, it's not just, I mean, everybody knows someone that is in the military. Shoot them the
Everyone.
link to this podcast, shoot them the link to this Misguided Podcast episode, and say, hey, just listen to this guy. We'd love to have you in our community. Again, we literally help other service members build wealth and create cash flow. So just go to militarycashflow.com. You'll get access to, or you'll see where you can find our Facebook group. You can find our YouTube channel, our podcast. We have courses out that help other service members learn how to build wealth and create cash flow through real estate. So we just got a bunch of stuff out there. We definitely take advantage of. So if you know somebody in the military, please send them this episode. Tell them to listen. Tell them to look up militarycashflow.com, and we'll be there. So
Facts. Well, Dan, man, I appreciate you coming up here. I'm sorry to take time away from your wife today on Valentine's Day. Tell her I'm sorry.
Magic happens tonight,
Yeah. There you go. Well, you guys have fun. You said you were going to scoot around today with the kids, so have fun, man. Enjoy the day, and we'll chat soon, man. And definitely send me those connections.
Got you.
Yes, sir, man. All right, well, everyone, this is the Misguided Podcast. We're intend to guide you to a better future. My name is Juwan. Again, I'm sitting here with Dan from Military Cash Flow. Make sure you follow. Appreciate it.